MrBeast has been at the center of a lot of controversy, and frankly, it's hard to keep up with it all, so here's every allegation simply explained. A million-sub baking YouTuber that starred in a YouTube challenge event that MrBeast hosted has been relentlessly attacking MrBeast's brand for a very petty reason. In the hide-and-seek challenge, Rosanna was supposed to be placed at 3rd place, but Jimmy or someone on his team willfully chose to place Logan Paul at 3rd instead, pushing her to 4th place. That's literally the whole drama. Very petty, kinda not even worth mentioning. She's also mad at him for a less petty reason. MrBeast convinced her to sign up with a company that uploaded her stuff to secondary platforms, to which there was a huge falling out between her and the company, and she was essentially locked out of her accounts. She blames Jimmy for that, and objectively I understand why she's upset. I just think she overreacted initially. Most of it could have been handled behind the scenes, but with all the stuff that's coming out now, after she exposed him, I understand why she feels responsible for going after him. Twitter routinely canceled MrBeast every time he uploaded a video on his Beast Philanthropy channel, the channel where he gave out food, paid for surgeries, had houses built in Latin America, etc. The main complaint was that he was profiting off of the underprivileged, and needing a YouTuber to do these things is bad. There's a willful ignorance around this topic, because for one, it's not his fault these problems exist, and 2, yeah, he is profiting off of helping people, but that's not a bad thing inherently. They refuse to separate his motivations from his actions, and in the process, that skews their perspective of it. Yeah, objectively, he's doing these things to gain more clout, get a better reputation, but his actions are genuinely good, and he is doing these things that are negative to himself. There's a lot of reasons to go after MrBeast, but helping people isn't one of them. I still think he's done a lot of good on the platform and in the real world, and so far, he has used his platform to help as many people as he can. If you hated him because he was helping people, you're not magically right about him. You judged him for helping people. His longtime friend and co-star Chris Tyson was the catalyst for a lot of MrBeast's hate to become mainstream, so let me explain. Chris Tyson has had a very long history on the internet. In that time, Chris made a lot of weird comments on Reddit and was associated with an artist known as Shadman. They never formally collabed or anything, but Chris purchased artwork from Shadman, admitting to visiting his website daily, and shouted Shadman out on streams. If you don't know why that's controversial, he was a Newsground artist that drew real children in illicit material. The guy drew the actress for X23 and even Keemstar's daughter. There really is no defense for the guy, and Chris Tyson enjoying lolly content and encouraging a guy that drew real children while starring on a child-friendly channel? It's weird and a little bit concerning. Kind of a big concerning, you know? To add to that list, a weird association was this person in the picture. The person was exposed by Finstar and like a lot of other people. Basically, weird person, very weird person. I won't go into detail about every controversial Reddit post that Chris Tyson posted, but here's a few of the more concerning ones. The main controversy that led to Chris Tyson being ousted from the MrBeast crew was Chris's involvement in a not safe for work Discord server that had a bunch of minors, and a majority of the Discord logs were leaked, excluding that not safe for work chat. However, what was leaked proved that Jimmy was in the chat, and Chris spoke inappropriately with the then minors. One of the people involved, Lava, has come out in defense of Chris, while another became a vocal opposition against Chris. There were allegations made that Chris met up with Lava alone in a camper, but no, that's not true. Lava traveled with his family to the Beast compound and met the team. After the Discord logs were leaked, Lava basically apologized to everyone and said, "Hey, I didn't realize how bad this was." And it's kind of crazy. Lava is a current MrBeast employee, so conspire of that what you will. To clarify, there's no proof of Chris dating or having a romantic relationship with any minors, but there is a chat log of Chris offering to send nudes to the Not Safe for Work Discord chat, which is probably good enough reason to can Chris. If the Discord server full of minors and weird comments isn't enough, here's the nail in the coffin. Chris Tyson's former assistant came out and made a serious allegation. So when Chris and Jess first met, Chris promised to feature Jess in a MrBeast video, but after flying out from Florida and having relations, Chris revealed they never had that power. Jess left her home, friends, state, and family to be featured in a video, just to be completely lied to. Maybe out of guilt or obligation, Chris offered Jess a job as an assistant and let Jess live in Chris's house. Allegedly, the two of them shared a romantic relationship, were in a romantic relationship. I said that twice, but whatever. Apparently, Chris was not committed to the relationship, so would fly out to meet people, and Chris eventually entered into a new relationship, which resulted in Jess getting dumped and fired as the assistant. Jess obviously went to HR and exposed the relationship, and Chris got upset. But like, if the allegations are true, Chris absolutely broke the law. Like, that feels like borderline streetwalker behavior. Hiring your partner as an assistant, then firing them when you get a new partner is definitely cancel worthy. I'm sorry. On to the next major string of allegations. Dogpack, a former employee, leaked lots of allegations, which even got him a cease and desist from Jimmy. To start, Dogpack alleged that Jimmy violated sweepstakes/lottery laws and intentionally promoted gambling to children with his chocolate brand. There's debates about whether or not the lottery laws apply to YouTube channels, but he's absolutely promoting gambling to his child audience through the chocolate. It's insane. Now, whether or not he fakes his videos is really complicated. The videos are not scripted, but according to Dogpack, MrBeast overuses CGI, hired an animal handler to have a raccoon in videos, mostly hires friends and family of staff, and has major influence over the videos, regularly making the videos unfair to contestants. In the girl versus boy video, he could only get 80 girls, so he had 20 of his female staff stand in, and he didn't want the girls to lose badly, so he helped them out as much as he could, which made it unfair for the boys. He brought up a Rubik's Cube solving challenge in the same video where Jimmy offered the only person who knew how to solve them money to leave. Then allegedly he even faked some challenges such as like the underwater valve challenge. Dogpack's videos go into way more detail on that stuff though. Another thing, Dogpack alleged that they left a lot of trash in a lake and never cleaned it up. They also didn't clean the beach after they finished a video. So he sent a charity that he regularly works with to clean up his mess. In an interview with Jake Weddle, he exposed that Jake the Viking threw trash off of a mountain, which got him a fine and community service. It's not as severe as some of the other stuff, but considering Jimmy's perspective as Team Trees, Team Oceans, it's kind of out of character. I cannot in good conscience defend MrBeast on this one. So, after sending Dogpack a cease and desist, he made a follow-up video on the MrBeast situation, and he exposed that MrBeast knowingly hired a registered offender for PDF actions. As it turned out, Jake the Viking's brother-in-law was a behind-the-scenes manager and was on the registry. Jake exposed that his brother-in-law sat down with Jimmy and his mom and told them point blank about the conviction. He was accused of taking advantage of an 11-year-old girl at 16. Jake the Viking is claiming he's innocent, but even if the guy was innocent, Jimmy knowingly hired a registered offender. MrBeast gears his content towards children, so having someone on the registry associated with kids content is beyond reckless. Keep in mind, when Jake was going after MrBeast for having someone who was a danger to kids on the channel, he willfully and purposely ignored the fact that his brother-in-law was a registered PDF. Final thing to note about Jake, Nathan, the person claiming Chris groomed him, worked with Jake for years since he was a minor. He even met Delaware while he was underage. Nothing happened apparently, but it's just very odd he lambasted Jimmy when he basically did the same thing, if not a little bit worse. On the H3 podcast, a former employee exposed why the manager before Delaware was fired. Jimmy, Chris, and the crew regularly joked about having their way with the manager's 5-year-old son. Then, when they were in the middle of the ocean filming a video, the former manager reacted violently to one of the jokes and threw someone in the ocean. All of this is from secondhand accounts, but still, it's probably accurate, and it's just crazy to think about. Which I say a lot, but it keeps getting crazier. Dogpack interviewed a former employee, Jake Weddle, that was featured in a few videos and was supposed to star in his own video, but his challenge was cut. He left early, so they cut the video. It's a whole thing. The guy openly hates MrBeast, so he's very biased. The guy is kind of erratic. He explained how he got himself and his coworker fired because he demanded more pay and residuals, which is not a thing YouTubers do. He even accused MrBeast of psychological torture and violating the Geneva Convention. In his words, his video went terrible. He was supposed to last 30 days in isolation, but he couldn't sleep with loud noises, bad smells, and lights, which is terrible, but he was set to win $300,000, and when he quit early, he still won $100,000, which he spent on taxes and the rest on his comedy career. His video was the precursor to another challenge published on the MrBeast channel, 10K for every day you spend alone. So if you want to check out what his experience was like, or something similar, check that out. On Weddle's channel, he uploaded the extended interview, which is an extended cut from Dogpack's video. And honestly, it's weird. He's constantly showing his Patreon and borderline implies that MrBeast is like a child trafficker without any semblance of proof. Maybe I'm biased, but I just don't trust him. That said, he does raise a fair point about MrBeast sets being terribly managed, but that's about it. MrBeast did reach out to him after his exposed video and gave him $50K as an apology, so maybe Jimmy's paying him off, but who knows. The Amazon-sponsored MrBeast games has been at the center of a long list of controversies. A contestant was denied necessary seizure medication, which led to them having a seizure on set. The contestants were underfed. They were given 400-calorie meals every 12 hours, which is not a lot. On the first day, the male contestants ganged up on the weaker contestants, including women and the elderly. There were reports that they were harming other contestants, and there wasn't any medical staff on set, which is a lawsuit waiting to happen. There were no broken bones according to the Beast team, but what's been described as very reckless. All the people on set were given NDAs, but people still will come out and expose the dangers on the set, whatever. This editor revealed he was offered an interview to work with MrBeast, but they stole his idea and he never heard back from them. Honestly, this allegation is a little bit absurd. They flew him out, bought him a nice hotel, They paid for his dog like daycare service and everything. Then they had him in the writer's room where he gave a bunch of ideas. Now keep in mind, his idea was just a video game like obstacle course. He never met Mr. Beast. And the guy started a GoFundMe for $1 million because he got a basic idea stolen. It's kind of ridiculous. He didn't build the obstacle course or organize anything. And even if he had, he would have gotten paid like a fraction of that. He would have never gotten anywhere near $1 million. It's not the audience's fault. And to add to that, the Mr. Beast team provided thumbnails proving they had the idea floating around months prior. So like, it's just weird. In a long Discord post, Arat leaked that Jimmy was actively forcing Chris to stay silent because he was afraid anything Chris said would cause backlash. Initially, Arat sided with Chris and said Chris regrets the person they used to be and is sorry for the inappropriate messages, but had no intentions to meet up with him. Then tried to defend Chris about the SA allegations, but after talking to the victim, took everything down and claimed not to know anything about the situation. For the final allegation, a YouTuber is claiming Jimmy willfully and actively used slave labor to mass produce his chocolate brand, Feastables. Right, so he claims that on the website there was a brand certificate that said, we do not use slave labor, right? And then they changed the materials around, and then they got rid of that label that said they don't use slave labor. So it's all circumstantial evidence, but still like kind of weird, kind of concerning. That's pretty much it for now. Dogpack is set to release a third video, so I'll update y'all when that happens. But for now, what do you guys think about Mr. Beast's list of allegations and risky involvements?